What's up? It's Ebony Trust, the purpose maximization strategist, and welcome to another episode of Dominate in Your Life. And so I want to welcome you back for this conversation about taking action. We started with last episode talking about what it means to take action and how action, the very nature of action means that you're doing something, that you're going somewhere, that you're moving forward. Okay, in a direction toward something, and that in order to dominate in your life, the first two letters of dominate are what? D-O. So you have to be doing something. Okay, dominate means that you do whatever it is that you do. All right, I like that. You go, girl. Go, Eb. Go, Eb. Okay, so today we're talking about fear. I talked last episode about how there are three areas that I've seen when I speak in front of audiences and when I coach with women that keep them from taking action. Those three areas are fear, other people's opinions or conversation, and perceived limitations. Okay, now I'm going to go a whole lot more in depth about fear in later on in another episode. But today I'm talking about fear as it relates to taking action or not taking action at all. Okay, so now first I want you to go ahead, get some pencil, paper, crayons, markers, expos, whatever you need to get so that you can write down the strategies that I'm going to be giving you in order to leap this hurdle of fear, in order to go ahead and move on what it is you desire to do, what you dream, whatever it is, in order to dominate in your life. Okay. So I want you to gauge in your mind two things or think about two areas, because normally when we're dealing with fear as it relates to taking action, we got two things going on: either fear of failure or fear of success. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and just think, engage in your mind which place you are in. Is it fear of failure or is it fear of success? Okay, now, if you find that you are dealing with a fear of failure, I want you to know that's primarily a pride issue. Okay, that's pride, because it's not that you're necessarily afraid to fail, it's that you're afraid to look bad in front of other people. Now, I don't know who those other people are. Maybe friends, family, children, co-workers, whoever it is, church members, whoever it is. Okay, I don't know who those people are. You have to determine that. But ultimately, it boils down to pride. Okay, because if you were to fail and nobody knew about it, you would pretty much be okay with it. You wouldn't be afraid to step out again or whatever the case may be. You pretty much, be okay with it. Okay. Previous to my coaching and speaking, my husband and I actually started another business. It was a private Christian school here in the town where we live. And just kind of long story short, it didn't work out. And because I live in small town Alabama, when one thing happens, it just spreads, especially if it's like gossip or it's a lie, because like the old folks say, a lie don't care who tell it, right? So it just spread. And so I went from being, a respected educator, entrepreneur, to being this thief and child abuser. And not only that, but we wound up having to file bankruptcy. Our home was foreclosed on. Both of our SUVs were repossessed. I mean, this was a public failure. It was very public. And so I failed in front of everybody. Just pick a group of people and I failed in front of those people. Okay. And so when I identified, number one, that my purpose was not to even start the school in the manner in which I did, but that it was to do the speaking and the coaching, to be here with you. I got to a place where I said, okay, I jumped one time before. Do I want to do this again? Do I really want to step out here and do this again? And what I kept coming back to was, because I'm a risk taker, I really am. What I kept coming back to was, I was afraid, because what if I failed again in front of all these people? What if I wound up having to file bankruptcy again? Have my new car repossessed? So that's where my thoughts were. It wasn't that I felt like, okay, I shouldn't do coaching and speaking or anything like that. It was that I was afraid to look bad in front of other people. So you have to gauge where you are with that if you're dealing with a fear of failure. Now, there's another fear that doesn't always get the conversation that it needs to, but it's the fear of success. Some people are afraid to be successful. Now, is that you? Have you become so acclimated and so used to failure that the idea of being a success scares you? Is that you? Are you afraid to move out because it might work this time? Been there and done that too. Like I said, I identified that it wasn't the school that I was supposed to be doing. It was the coaching and speaking, ministering. That's what I had been doing for so many years with women. And when I said, okay, here it is, I'm going to go ahead and do this thing instantly. What if it works? Because see, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've had a business since I was 6 years old. Okay. And I'm very much unemployable. Like I like the freedom of determining when I'm going to work, how much money I'm going to be paid, where I can work from. I'm sold on that freedom. But I had the thought, okay, every other thing didn't quite work out. Now, I know I'm supposed to be doing this coaching and speaking. So I know it's going to work. It's been working. I'm going to be a success at this. How do I handle success? What? Is that you? Is that where you are? So, now that we're being honest with ourselves, let's think about this. First of all, the only way to combat fear is to take action, is to do something. Because otherwise, you'll sit and be paralyzed. You won't do anything because you're so afraid. You won't step out because you're afraid of failing in front of people. And you won't step out because you're afraid of success after having been so used to failure. Okay. Those of you who have a fear of success, let me let you in on this secret. When you know your purpose and that you are doing what you were designed and born to do, all you can do is win. You have no other choice. There's no other option. Now, your win may not be instantaneous, true, but all you can do is win. Like there's no other thing possible for you but to win, because you're doing what it is God has placed inside of you to do. You have to win. You're already a winner. And then those of you who are afraid of failure, I feel like, and I have a speech that I do called Redefining Failure. We have to create a new definition of what failure. Failure is not, first of all, it's not final. Failure is just feedback. You do it, it doesn't work. Okay, let's figure out where we went wrong. That's what I had to do. After my school failed, I had to come back to the drawing board. Okay, how did this happen? And I had to rework my plan. It wasn't that I'm not supposed to be an entrepreneur. It's that I wasn't supposed to be doing that thing as an entrepreneur. Failure is feedback. It's not final. It's feedback. It is what you need in order to know where you go next. I instantly think about the cleaning product Formula 409. Do you know how it got its name? Because the creator of Formula 409, that cleaning product, it took that person 409 times to get it right. Let that sink in for a second. It took that inventor 409 times. Now, what if they would have stopped at 408 or 407? Because they had made so many and they, tore up somebody's floor or their wall or something with Formula 3 or Formula, 92 or, Formula 235. But they kept at it. They kept going. And that's what I want you to do. Now, we're going to talk next episode about other people's opinions and their conversations. But let me just tell you something, boo. Listen, don't worry about folk. Because it doesn't matter how well or how bad you do. Somebody's going to always, I promise you, as sure as my name is Ebony L, that they will have something to say. Why? Because everybody who sits on the sidelines knows more than the players. You ever notice that? Watching the game, everybody on the couch watching the game with you know what the coach ought to have done, know what the quarterback, what the point guard, know what they should have done. But they are not on the court. They are not on the field. They are not in the game. You are. So you call the shots. More about that next time. I'm Ebony Trust, the Purpose Maximization Strategist. I pray that you enjoy this episode. Make a decision to move forward. Like, share, tweet. I love to hear from you in the comment section about which side of the fence you're on and what you plan to do about it. Until next time, remember, don't just dominate in your area of ability, but dominate in your realm of possibility.